Hello and welcome to Taking You to School with Dr. Tom Prichard. I am your host, JP John Poz from the Two-Man Power Trip. Of course, joining me, the star of the show, the former WWE World Tag Team Champion, one of the greatest trainers ever in the history of the business, the Doctor of Desire himself, Dr. Tom Prichard. Dr. Tom, how are you doing today, sir?
Doing great today, John. A lot of things going on.
Now, I feel like there's a lot of things going on all around the world, especially in WWE land. I wanted to we talked a little bit about it last week, but I wanted to bring it up again this week. The Riyadh season, if you will, the Saudi Arabia WrestleMania 43 in 2027. They're going to have WrestleMania, literally the WrestleMania, not a super WrestleMania, not a big WrestleMania, the WrestleMania in Saudi Arabia. You're still okay with it. You're still liking this idea of doing it in Saudi.
Well, yeah, I think it's TKO and they're a publicly traded company, so they got to make what they got to make for the stockholders, and I can understand that they're doing the right thing for business. I mean, people may not like it, and I know there's a lot of changes going on, going to ESPN for the PPLs or PLEs or whatever they're called these days, and I understand that that's what they have to do.
It is very intriguing, the outside factors, not even belonging to WWE, that are like so upset that WWE is running Saudi Arabia because it affects their business. I don't know if you saw any of that. I just thought that was like kind of one of those ironic things. Oh, WWE having the show in other places affects your business. This is a WWE show. This is WWE WrestleMania. Why are you so affected by it?
Yeah, I mean, I understand people want to run shows around WrestleMania weekend, and it's good business for those guys. But at the same time, WWE has always been protective of their business and their stockholders. So, yeah, I'm sorry, but that's the way it goes.
Another thing is too, they always have the conventions wrapped around it. So they were just interviewing Michael over at High Spots, who runs owns WrestleCon, been running it for years. He was talking in an interview saying that he doesn't think that WrestleCon will make its way out to Saudi Arabia and do WrestleCon out there. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I don't think a lot of people are going to be able to make it to Saudi Arabia, but you can watch it during the day, and that's just. I mean, the business is changing, and it's something that we're going to have to get used to. I mean, ticket prices are outrageous. Um, they've gone to Netflix. They're going to ESPN, and it's become a different business model. And I think we're going to have to accept that.
I just thought it was interesting because obviously you think about WrestleCon, they run it very near and dear or very close to WrestleMania, wherever it is. Let's say if it's in Philly, they run on the outskirts of Philly, and they'll have a big convention. They'll bring in huge names. They'll bring in Bret Hart. They'll bring in just random big names in the history of wrestling, and they'll always bring them in for WrestleCon. He was saying there's no way they could do it this year and make money because they'd have to fly everybody out to Saudi Arabia, and then they have to rent a bill. Like, he has no connections out there. It's going to be impossible to do a WrestleCon convention in Saudi.
Yeah, I think a lot of things are going to be impossible in the next coming years. WWE is going to make it right for them, and everybody else is going to have to fend for themselves. It's been changing for the last 10 years, and now that TKO is in charge, they're going to run it the way they want to run it.
When you look at it too, it's like, okay, WrestleCon won't be able to run. That's just one aspect of it. There are so many indie promotions that run that weekend. They were saying that they don't think they could run that weekend. So it's like, this is hurting their business because they're an indie promotion, and this is like the biggest weekend of the year. They kind of piggyback off WWE. That's not up to WWE. I mean, too bad, I guess, for them.
Yeah, it is too bad. I mean, you can still run your shows during WrestleMania weekend. It just won't be in the same city as WrestleMania, unless you want to fly all the way to Saudi Arabia, which, like you said, nobody's going to be able to afford to do that. So that's just it's the cost of business these days.
They were kind of fortunate that there was 70,000 people would be in town, so they kind of piggyback off that. And literally usually draw a decent amount of shows, sometimes some of their best shows, because they had WWE fans that were, there for a week and they have time on Thursday or Friday that WWE's not having a show, and they could run their show and really benefit from WWE. But I feel like maybe even with WWE going WrestleMania 2 nights, that even hurt them as well. You know what I mean? Like they kind of pushed them out.
Well, yeah, but you're right. They could draw a good house. People coming in for the week and going to take it surrounding shows and things like that. But no matter what, TKO is going to do what's best for them. And I mean, already it's been proven that people will pay a whole lot of money for first row seats, first, second row, 5 row, ringside seats. For WWE, and whether they're pricing families out or not, I mean, that's just a fact of life and business these days.
Yeah, sad but true. If people keep paying for it, I guess maybe they aren't.
It's not Lou Thesz versus Buddy Rogers anymore. It's really not. Even though I appreciate the old school way of doing things, I understand WWE. And TKO wants to do what's best for them and the stockholders.
So they're going to do this show apparently for this one show over 100 million. So I mean, this is going to be like the biggest sold show, the biggest paid show, ever in history. I mean, they're getting so much money from the Saudis. It's almost like they can't turn this down. I mean, it is unreal money. I mean, they're normally getting 50 million or whatever they're getting per show. This is going to be double that, triple that.
So this is they're getting paid 100 million to do WrestleMania in Saudi.
That's what was basically being reported out there. Yeah. So it's almost like, how could you turn down that money? I doubt Vegas is paying 100 million for the show.
Right. So that answers everybody's question. I mean, how can you not? I mean, if you're offered $100 million, why wouldn't you take it?
And WWE almost was like, okay, well, we'll have this be, the SaudiMania, and we'll have our other WrestleMania. And Saudi said, no, they wanted it to be the WrestleMania. So it can't be just the second WrestleMania. It has to be the WrestleMania. That's what they wanted. So, man, it's, business is picking up, if you will. I mean, they're probably profitable already in 2027.
Well, have they got The Rock to wrestle yet? Has he agreed to wrestle yet?
No, but apparently that's in the works. They're saying.
Yeah. So I mean, again, $100 million. Who would be out of your mind not to do that?
They're rumored to already contacted Shawn Michaels, but he said no, he's retired and he's too old and everything. Which it makes sense. I mean, he's right there. Undertaker has obviously been contacted. They said The Rock and Steve Austin are priorities, like 1 and 2 on their list of guys they want.
Well, that would be an interesting match, but I don't know if Austin wants to get in the ring anymore either.
Right.
So I mean, you still for $100 million, you'd be crazy not to take it.
So Stone Cold Steve Austin could be wrestling. The Rock could be wrestling. I mean, obviously they're going to go balls to the wall. They're going to go all out for SaudiMania, and it's just going to be a gigantic show. But it's just one of those things where it's like, wait a second, $100 million for one show? Like, holy Jesus, you have to do it.
Yeah, you'd be crazy not to.
When you look at it too, GCW, which is Game Changer Wrestling, they always run the Collective, which always has a litany of shows attached to Mania. Usually a few days before, they'll have Joey Janela's Spring Break, a bunch of shows that actually end up usually drawing pretty good because obviously they're a name brand on the indies, but also because WWE and there's so many fans in attendance. Sometimes Nick Khan would show up at some of the GCW shows when they were doing the Collective. But he said, and this is crazy, Brett Lauderdale, the man behind GCW, the owner, said he's already gotten offers from companies out there that want to have GCW around WrestleMania. Would that be crazy? Possibly like 1 or 2 indie shows out there
in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, he said he got offers to go out there.
Well, if they get offers, then they'd be crazy not to go because obviously Saudi has the money. So why not?
They always run. If you follow Game Changers, they always run like not random place, but everywhere. England, Japan, Germany, or whatever. They run everywhere. Man, I don't think he had Saudi Arabia on the bucket list there. Places to run, I don't think.
Well, if WrestleMania will be there, I mean, stranger things have happened. That's going to be in 27, right?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, there's still time to figure things out, and there might be some companies in Saudi Arabia that wants names like Game Changer Wrestling to go out there. So who knows?
It would definitely keep the WrestleMania feel and vibe of having other shows, indie shows, local shows around, and then they could kind of do those shows during the week. But I have a feeling WWE is going to monopolize a lot of the week over there, and they're probably going to do, like the Hall of Fame. They're going to do their whole 9 yards out there.
Yeah, they'll do it right. They'll definitely do it right, and they'll have first class all the way around.
A buddy of mine, which is so true, and I didn't even think about it, but it's 100% true. He said, well, about people complaining that, oh, why are they having that's such a sellout? Why are they having shows out there? He said, well, it was too expensive. I wasn't going to Vegas. I sure as hell ain't going to Saudi Arabia. I said, well, yeah, that's true. I wasn't going to be going anyway. So I'm glad to be watching it at home and probably during the day rather than at night.
Well, there's enough people in Saudi Arabia where they're going to sell out no matter what. And obviously they have the cash to do it. So it's good for business. It's good for WWE and it's good for TKO. It may not be good for the fans over here, but they're going to get some people going flying to Saudi Arabia, I'm sure.
Now, here's another interesting little, I guess not wrinkle or a curveball, but it's just so interesting that they were saying that AEW may run a show that weekend in the States, meaning that since that weekend isn't taken up by WWE, AEW would be smart to kind of steal that weekend, and they do the collective, and they do WrestleCon, and they do the indie shows, and you know what I mean? Like they have everything wrapped around it. What do you think about that possibility of maybe AEW kind of stealing the shine there? And would they or could they do that?
Well, I'm sure they could, and by 2027, we never know who's gonna be there and what the landscape is gonna look like. But that might be certainly an alternative to that weekend, and see how many people come out.
Do you think that would be smart of them to do that?
Sure, why not? We're not competing against WrestleMania, not in the States. I mean, and it'll give a live show effect, and maybe they could even create their own WrestleMania moments or WrestleMania show.
Do you think that would be counter programming where they could actually compete, like and not win, but do well, by doing that?
Who knows? Yeah, I mean, depending what they got going on, sure, why not?
That's one of those little interesting things. I guess they could do that. I mean, maybe try it out. And see, because I feel like maybe if some people in the States will want to go to a show and that you normally spend it on WWE or you normally spend it on Mania and they're not going to Saudi, so maybe they'll spend it on AEW. They'll try the alternative.
Well, that would be definitely an alternative, and again, who knows what's going to happen? What talent will be with AEW in 2027? You never know. I mean, things can change, and they do change all the time.
Do you think that this is almost looking like TKO is like too money hungry? I know they're obviously their business, they have shareholders, you have to do that, but do you almost think they're prioritizing it too much as far as the financials?
Well, what do they do with the UFC and MMA and things like that? I mean, they're obviously doing great business there, so I think they're just trying to make WWE along those lines, and I don't know if they can ever have enough money. I mean, maybe it'll backfire on them, but I think it's worth them trying to make it like their UFC model.
And Mark Shapiro, the president, has said that, but it's interesting that WWE is actually more profitable than UFC. I know UFC does make a lot of money, and they were making a lot of money for a lot of years, but WWE right now is actually more profitable. So it's one of those like give and take kind of thing. It's like what's too much, what's too little. We have to find like the middle ground. And are we charging too much? Well, no, not yet. Let's keep charging a ton for tickets. Let's see how far we can spread the dollar and spread the fans into wanting to come to the shows.
Well, I think if enough fans speak up and enough fans stop buying tickets, then they'll have to change. But until then, there's no reason for them to change.
Do you think it would hurt future fans? Like, oh, they're too expensive. They won't even think about it going forward.
I don't know. I mean, they're moving to ESPN. They've moved to Netflix. Um, they're getting eyes out there. I don't know what the ratings are, but obviously you still have people that'll pay that kind of money to go to WWE. So I think if you raise a generation of fans and educate them on this is what it costs and this is what it is, then they don't know anything else.
I feel like Vince is almost coming off like a babyface now because they were saying like, oh, Vince never charged enough for tickets. He wanted families to be able to afford to go together, and that almost sounds like, okay, so you guys are the heels, and you're saying that he's the babyface because they were trying to say that he wasn't maximizing the profits. But in the same sentence, he said that Vince wanted families to be able to afford to go. So it's like, you're making him look like a babyface.
Well, yeah, and I think that goes back to Vince with the thought in mind that it is for families, and it is with Hulk Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior and things like that. I mean, he did uh, base it on that model, and I think even going forward, he wanted families to come and join in the fun, and that's what WWE has always been. Put smiles on faces, and now it's they're going to put money in the bank.
Isn't that crazy though? Like after everything that's going on with the Janelle Grant case and all this other stuff, that how Vince has kind of painted it, even the Vince McMahon documentary on Netflix, somewhat painted as this heel, and he's done all this crazy stuff, and he's such a mean guy. A few sentences by TKO, and now everyone's like, "We want Vince back," and like
Sure.
they turned him into a babyface, like unwittingly.
Well, people are fickle, and as we've seen, uh, they can easily change their mind, and maybe they think Vince wasn't so bad after all. Keeping the prices down and keeping it reasonable. But at the same time, it is business, and it is about making money. And I can just imagine Paul Bosch, Houston promoter, who remembered when WrestleMania drew 90,000 people in the Silverdome, and he was amazed, because that's what it is. It's about drawing people, and they're drawing people, and um, they have the goods to do it with. They have the talent, and they have something that the people want to see. So as long as the fans keep coming, there's no reason to stop. And once they stop buying tickets and the stadiums or arenas are half full or they're not selling out anymore, then they have reason to rethink things.
Did Paul Bosch leave the 1987 Paul Bosch retirement show, the WWF ran? Did he leave with the money that night? Did he leave with the gate?
I think he did.
Did he was he supposed to do that, or did he do that on his own?
I think he did that on his own. I think that was the arrangement he came up with, and I believe that was done the day of the show. They decided that he wanted the gate.
Wow, so he kind of pulled one over on everyone.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. Sure.
Well, everyone at WWE, that is. He pulled one over.
Yeah. Yeah.
Look at Paul Bosch. What a genius. That was his last, right? That's his last ever show. He never returned, right? That was
no, he did. He returned. He tried to promote with Crockett, and he did some shows, but it was never the same. It just didn't have the same feel, and people had moved on, and WWE or WWF at that time had already infiltrated all the other places, and they saw that as the major leagues. And Paul was a great promoter. It never was the same.
He basically, I don't know actually the time frame, but did he end up eventually selling everything to the Tharps, or how did Bruce Tharp ever come into owning that footage, like all that Paul Bosch footage?
I'm not sure how that came about. Really, I don't know the specifics of how he got the matches, how he got the tapes.
But obviously, Bosch was never the same after WWE kind of had the global takeover.
Yeah, Never the same.
There's some great stuff on that Bruce Tharp. I know he didn't release kind of enough of that stuff, but there was some great stuff out there.
Yeah,
Like Harley and Andre and stuff. There's some good stuff out there.
yeah, Harley and Terry, Harley and Terry Funk,
Yeah. Yep.
1977. That's a good match to watch. Yeah, there is some good stuff out there, but I don't really know how that came about.
Interestingly enough, you were talking about who will be in WWF in 2027. How about 2026? Here's a big rumor: Chris Jericho may be WWE bound and may be leaving AEW. What do you think of the chances of Chris Jericho, when his contract is up just January 1st, that he heads over to WWE again?
That wouldn't surprise me in the least. I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Do you think that's a good spot for him?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, they're going to Saudi Arabia for $100 million. So I think Jericho still has a name, and he was a name when he left. So, yeah, I think that'd be a great move for him.
He is, I think, 52 or 53, so he's getting older. But I saw a picture of him, and he looked like he was getting into really good shape. And it's interesting. Usually that's like a telltale sign of like a WWE return. Like, wow, this guy looks huge. This guy looks in great shape. That's usually a telltale sign of a WWE return.
Yeah. And like I said, I don't think a lot of people will be surprised if that happens. I mean, AEW's been good to him, and I'm sure he's done okay, and he's got his dates the way he wants them. But one last run at WWE for unreal money, that'd be great.
Man, you could do a Royal Rumble return, right? You can kind of shock the world with the Royal Rumble return. You can be a part of a WrestleMania, obviously. You can be a part of the Saudi deal. You could even be a part of the WWE Hall of Fame, given his run there. So it would be awesome to have him back.
Yeah, and I think Chris is looking at that. So he'd be a fool not to.
And I feel like, too, if you have all these big names and then you lose one, like a John Cena, you kind of want to replace him with another big name. And Jericho would kind of be the perfect replacement eventually if you want to do that.
Yeah, I think so. He's keeping his name alive. And like you said, he's getting in great shape. So why not bring him back? Hunter's an old school guy. So I think he's smart enough to know that Jericho still means something.
Do you think that with Jericho possibly kind of returning, do you think that the way AEW handles these guys leaving is the right way to do it? Because a lot of the times they won't even be on TV for months and then they head back to the meaning they didn't do any jobs like Pentagon and Phoenix. They didn't do any jobs. They were off TV for a year, whatever it was. They didn't lose. He didn't put anybody over. Didn't make anybody leave. He didn't leave on on your back on the way out. Do you like that AEW approach?
Yeah, I think it's good for the guys.
But what about for AEW though? Do you like that for them? Because that kind of it's like, wow, they could have had Jericho lose on the way out because he hasn't wrestled in months.
Well, yeah, they could, but I mean that's on them. And Tony's such a nice guy. I guess he helps them out by not doing that.
It's one of those things where you got to kind of, I don't know, if that was me, Jericho would be losing to Darby Allin or whoever they're pushing, because and obviously he would do it no problem, but that's the way you should do on the way out. They should have these guys lose.
Well, that's the way it used to be. I think modern times have shown that the guys have figured creative ways to not do that, and smart on their part.
Man, it was like he's not going to use Pentagon, not going to have him lose. Oh, maybe people will forget about him. They didn't forget about him. He had a big time debut, and obviously he's still really popular in WWE right now. But it's like, I don't know, maybe he thinks people are going to forget about those guys. They're not going to forget it.
No, I don't think so at all. I think once you cemented your legacy in WWE, as long as you keep it good, you can always come back.
So Jericho possibly going to WWE, maybe. Well, we'll see. Guy leaving WWE. I don't know if you saw this. Andrade gone from the WWE.
So what happened with Andrade? Yeah, I heard that he did leave, but he was just. I only know what I read for disciplinary actions or something like that.
That's what I read. Disciplinary actions.
What did he do?
So It was reported too, and I don't know maybe how accurate it is, but it was reported first he had a health violation, if you will, that he got popped. I guess he failed one of their drug tests. So I guess that's why he was off for a while. But then I saw it was reported that it was either a no-show or he was late to shows, and that apparently one of these shows that him and Phoenix were possibly going to win the tag team titles, and that he either was late or he no-showed that show, which obviously scrapped those plans and put him into the firing pan, if you will, into the fire here. He obviously that would not put him in a good spot. So kind of one of those things where it could have been a wellness violation I read, but then I read late to shows and no show as well.
Well, that'll do it every time. You gotta show up and you gotta do your job. And if he wasn't doing that, then they wouldn't hesitate to get rid of him.
What did you think about him? Did you like Andrade?
I never saw anything special about Andrade. I never got it.
Very interesting. Like, you're possibly going to win the tag titles. They put him and Phoenix together, and they were winning a bunch of matches. And then you either no-show you later, you get a wellness check violation, and it all comes crumbling down. It's like I don't know. It seemed like he couldn't not mature. I don't know. Maybe the right word for it, but it's like he couldn't put it all together.
Well, maybe he wasn't that responsible. And
there you go.
Yeah, responsibility and showing up and doing your job. And when you start no-showing or you start affecting the shows, then they're going to find a reason to get rid of you, as if they didn't need one already.
And here's the thing, too. It's okay. He gets fired from WWE. He's gone. He left AEW, and it didn't really leave on good terms with leaving AEW. So it's not like he's got the door open there. He can head back there. WWE now owns AAA. He's obviously not going to be working for them. WWE has a good relationship with TNA. He's obviously not going to be working with them. New Japan Pro Wrestling right now isn't under the greatest financial terms, so they're not bringing really any gaijins in or any outside talent right now. That had with a name like him that would maybe render some more money. So it's one of those things where the heck is he going to end up?
What about Mexico besides AAA?
So CMLL is the one thing that everyone keeps kind of hinting at. I don't know if he has a 90-day compete or not. I don't even know if that would matter if he went down and wrestled in Mexico. So that might be a spot for sure that he could do it. CMLL is hot right now. So MJF, who has a feud in CMLL right now with Mystico, keeps messaging online, tweeting out there to Andrade, ripping his divorce with Charlotte, ripping his. So it seems like they're teasing something. So maybe CMLL is the place for him to go.
Possibly, but I mean, whatever he did with WWE, it seemed like he burned a bridge. So he's going to have to find somewhere to go.
Man, imagine that you burned the two bridges with the two biggest companies, WWE and AEW. Usually not the smartest thing to do.
Well, obviously, it wasn't too smart. Not showing up. There's got to be a reason for that, and for whatever violation he did, you know the rules, and if they want to get rid of you, they'll find a way.
Man, just one of those things where you're thinking like, okay, we brought you back, like stay in the good graces, and the guy just can't stay in the good graces. It's like crazy because they brought him back.
Yeah, but some guys are like that. Some guys can't get out of their own way, and it's been like that forever.
So WWE WrestlePalooza on Saturday the 20th, the PLE, the first one ESPN. AEW has All Out on HBO Max the same day. Earlier in the day, their pay-per-view will be the first one on Max. So it seems like the business is, I wouldn't say, booming, but maybe as it was last year, but it is kind of, has the feeling of it because HBO and ESPN are now a part of it and paying them a ton of money. So it just seems like this is a really good kind of test for this weekend because you got a ton of college football games on. And let's see, you got AEW on during the day and WWE on at night. Let's see how they do against the big dogs here.
Yeah, I think it's a great time to be a wrestling fan. If you're going to watch it on TV, again, going on HBO and going on ESPN is really a boost, and I think it puts the product out front, and people can choose. So yeah, it's doing great business right now, I think, for both companies.
And I know people were complaining about the Netflix ratings, or maybe they're not as high as they could be, but they're always in the top 10. So WWE and Netflix not complaining. Netflix actually was very happy. The first week of the NFL season, the rating actually went up. So I know they counted for the whole week instead of the day. So that definitely helps them too. There's no doubt about that. But the rating was up from the week before, and the week before had no football. And so it's not necessarily wrestling fans or NFL football fans as much as maybe we previously thought. So it seems like maybe good product, AJ Lee and CM Punk thing has an interest. It just didn't seem like that hurt them as much.
No, I don't think so at all, and I think that they're coming up with really good ideas. I don't get a chance to watch it every night or every Monday or Friday, but they still are the place to be. I mean, if you're in WWE, you're going to have a high profile, and especially if you have that real estate on Monday or Friday.
Will you be watching both shows?
I don't know what I have going on Saturday, but I doubt it.
What about WWE at night? Maybe a little
Maybe.
ESPN,
Yeah.
little ESPN action.
Yeah, maybe so.
There was so much confusion when they announced this ESPN thing, just because it's like, all right, how do I buy it? Because they created a new app and what's on, and like, how do I get it? There was so much confusion, and I made it very simple for myself. I just went to Disney Plus, and it said add the ESPN bundle, and you basically, I think it's $29.99 a month. But we have Hulu, we have Disney Plus, and then you add ESPN. Essentially, I added up the price, and they actually gave me a little bit of a discount too. They gave me a few dollars off, which was nice. So the bundle is less than $29, about $28 for all three of the bundle, which would have been way more had I just did ESPN by itself. Because if you just do ESPN, the app by itself, it's $30. If you put all three together, it's $30. Plus, they gave me a discount of a few dollars off a month. So I was like, man, you make it a lot easier. Just do the bundle. You know, if you're a streamer, if you don't have cable.
Well, I know a couple of people who said they're not going to buy ESPN or the bundle or anything like that. But I also know people who do have ESPN and are going to watch. So, yeah, I think it's a great time for the business. It's a great time for wrestling fans to tune in, because WWE loves competition, and they're going to go out and do the best they can to squash anybody who goes up against them.
My friend actually, through Verizon, he has it for free, so he's not even paying through his cable operator. So he's not even paying for it. It's like, wow, that works out better for you. And then he said he got rid of Peacock, so yeah, he's actually saving money with this, which is kind of surprising. Initially, everyone's like, "Oh, WWE's money hungry; they're ripping you off." And if you're lucky enough to have the Verizon, I mean, I don't have cable, so I had to do the bundle package. And the kids, I'm not getting rid of Hulu or Disney Plus, so it just added the extra value of ESPN. It was easy for me, but he's getting it for free, so it's lucky for some people.
Yeah, for a lot of people, I think. So, yeah, I think it's going to work out pretty good for WWE, and it'll just take time for people to find it, for those who are confused, but they'll be okay.
Here's a little interesting thing about not only WWE wrestling in general that I thought was kind of funny, just because of like the give and take, or like the wrestler perspective versus like the internet perspective, or the dirt sheet perspective, or like, the wrestling media perspective. So Kurt Angle said that he thinks wrestlers today need to slow down a little and show some more selling and some more psychology. Dave Meltzer actually wrote back and was saying, no, that's not true. Every generation says that about the generation before, and that this generation doesn't need to slow down, that the psychology is on point and the selling's on point. What do you think about that?
Well, I think it eventually, what's old will become new again, and I think they'll eventually have to go back to that selling and take their time. I thought Punk and Gunther had a hell of a match at WrestleMania this last year and told a hell of a story. So and they sold and took their time, but
Yep.
it's educating the fans, and I've heard that's the style today, and that's what people want to see is action, 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 and less selling and more just registering and telling stories that way. So it'll just take re-educating the fans as time goes on, and every generation, you're right, I think has something to say about the last generation and those damn kids doing too many spots and not selling enough. But my personal feeling is, yeah, slow down and tell the story that way. But once again, I'm not the audience they're playing to. So it is action, 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 and a fast-paced tempo, a lot faster than the 80s or 90s, that's for sure. And they're going to, as long as the people are buying it, they're going to keep doing it.
So are you in the Kurt Angle camp at all or no?
Yeah, I am. I do believe they should slow down and take their time, but I'm not the audience they're playing to.
Who was it? Was it Carl Gotch or was it Lou Thesz that didn't like Harley Race and didn't like his style, that he was going too fast, that didn't have psychology?
It could have been both, but I think it was Lou who said that first, and Carl Gotch was a crotchety old guy too, who thought Harley was doing too many spots, and these guys today in their high spots, everybody has their take and everybody has their era they love, and I look back on some of the 70s wrestling that I grew up on. I grew up on the 60s and 70s, and some of those matches these days hold up and some don't. But you gotta realize everybody's vying for the attention. You got the internet you're fighting against. You got anything instant gratification. We didn't grow up with cell phones and laptops and computers and stuff like that. And these days, you can get information right off the bat, and you're competing for everybody's attention. So it's got to be something flashy and glitzy and glamorous. And if you notice the pyro and the ring and how much things have evolved and changed, everything's a spectacle these days. And if you're going to pay that kind of money for a seat, people are going to want and expect a spectacle. Real quick, when I went to Vegas, we got to see Chris Angel. What a show he puts on, and it's fast moving. And I can understand if people are going to pay that kind of money for a show in Vegas or a show wherever you go, you want a spectacle, you want glitz, you want something to capture your attention, and it's bigger, faster, stronger type thing. And I can understand the mentality there. I may not care for it, but once again, I watched some of the matches today, and I think these guys are athletic, a lot better than guys in the 70s and 80s. I mean, they're different. If you watch Flair versus Steamboat, they were fast paced, but they also told a story, and they did slow down. They did a spot, they did the arm drags, the chops, and things like that. And that might have been too fast for that day and age, but they both were able to pull it off. And these days, you have to be able to hold the attention of your average viewer. And your average viewer, I think they're playing to is, I don't even know the demographics. I don't know what the ages are, but I know kids are watching because you see a lot of kids in the crowd. And that's what they're appealing to. And kids want to see glitz, glamour, flash. And WWE is going to give it to them. They're going to find what the audience wants, and they're going to give it to them.
Interesting you mentioned Punker, because I feel like he's got that old school flavor. Gunther definitely has. That match was awesome. They were live for it. Gunther has that old school flavor. It's still over when you can wrestle like that and not do the fast-paced style. So I feel like old school is still cool.
Well, if you have guys that know how to do it right and know how to tell the story, why for I don't know how many years, 7 or 10 or however long Punk was out, why were people still chanting his name? And why were people still interested in CM Punk? He's not a bodybuilder. He's never been a body guy. He's in great shape now. But if you have two people that the fans are into and the characters or personas resonate with the fans, then you can get away with that if you know how to do it, if you understand the psychology and you know how to sell and tell a story. But not just anybody can go out there and do that. You have to have your flyers, your wrestlers, and your workers, and people who know how to connect with the audience. And that, no matter what you do, if you can't connect, it's not going to matter.
One of those things where I feel like this generation, like these guys will say that about the next generation. They have no psychology. They can't work. They're too fat. Like it just keeps going and going. It never ends. For 100 years, it never ends.
Yeah, I think that's just the nature of the business. This generation thinks the previous generation thinks this generation is too fast and too wild, too crazy, and don't know how to work. But they're drawing crowds, they're drawing money, so they must be doing something right.
Just was curious, did you see NXT Homecoming at all? Did you see that show with Triple H and Shawn Michaels making an appearance?
I did not.
Oh, you didn't? Okay. They were teasing something with War Games. I don't know if Regal was kidding or not, because that's his famous line, War Games with WWE and NXT, possibly Triple H's team versus Michael's team. I just wasn't sure if you saw that or not, or if maybe he was just kind of kidding for the crowd. But they did a show back in Full Sail University, so it was a quote-unquote NXT Homecoming.
So War Games is going to be Triple H's guys against Shawn's guys?
I don't know if they were joking or not, because that's Regal's catchphrase. So I don't know if he was kidding or not, but they teased it. They were in the ring together, and Triple H goes, "Oh, what if I want to come back here?" And then Shawn Michaels was like, "Then we're gonna have a problem or something." That Regal came out and he goes, "What about War Games?" And then they kind of like got distracted by Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss coming out, and they didn't go back to it. But I was just curious if you saw that, because it seemed like they're teasing it, oddly enough.
Well, why wouldn't they tease it? They can really do anything they want, and they have all that talent. So, yeah, why not use it?
I just don't know if that's the best use of War Games. I feel like you got to do the Seth Rollins team that he's amassed against the CM Punk team that he's going to amass. Like, I don't know. I would go in that direction than in a promotional feud here.
Well, can they not do both?
Oh, they could. Sure.
Yeah. That might be the way to do it.
Maybe with the women, do the women of NXT versus the women of WWE War Games if they want to go that route.
Yeah. Yeah, they can manufacture whatever they want to do. And they have a lot of great minds there right now. So I think so.
Got to mention this to you. Unsolicited, my friend from down south says to me, totally unsolicited, this is great. Wait, let's see if I could find it here. Where the hell is this message? I think Dr. Tom is perhaps the most underrated worker, ... ever. What do you think about that? High praise.
I don't know about ever. No, I think I was rated just right.
So I said, wow, high praise. He said, doesn't get nearly enough credit in my honest opinion.
Wow.
So I said, wow, you think he's better than Sweet Stan and Gigolo Jimmy Del Rey? And he said, yes.
Wow. Well, that's something.
And then he said, keep in mind, I spent my summers and Thanksgivings in Tennessee. As a kid, I got to see Tom a lot on continental television. So he's saying that he's seen more of you than me. So that's why he knows that you are the best and maybe the most underrated worker of all time.
Well, Continental had some pretty good matches, I thought. So but I don't know about underrated. I thought I was rated just right.
He says, everyone was always raving about in the North, raving about Hogan and Snuka, etc. I like Dr. Tom, Dirty White Boy, Robert Fuller, Jimmy Golden, and Bob Armstrong. Look at that. He's an old school fan, my buddy Tyler.
Well, I'll tell you what, the Southern wrestling was the style I grew up with too in Texas, and when I got to Tennessee, it was the same kind of style and same kind of craziness and goofiness and just southern style wrestling. So I mean, I thought I fit in pretty good there.
He said he wished Cornette would have booked a singles program, Smoky Mountain Wrestling, between Dr. Tom and Brad Armstrong. That footage, which would be available, would be amazing if you guys had a single feud. So I said, "Wow, okay, I got to bring this up."
We had a singles program in Continental.
Yep. So he's saying he wished, because he saw it there, he wished you did it again in Smoky Mountain.
Yeah, well, Brad was kind of off in doing his thing, and I was doing my thing, the tag team. So Brad was pretty much off in the singles part of it. He was doing his thing.
And as we're recording today, I just wanted to look this up and see what match that you were in today. 1993 Smoky Mountain Wrestling, Freedom Hall, Johnson City, Tennessee. Rock and Roll Express, Ricky and Robert defeated the Heavenly Bodies, Jimmy Del Rey and Dr. Tom. What do you think about that? That match.
How many years ago was that?
1993, 22 years ago.
Wow. 22 years ago. Yeah, it seems like it was yesterday. 22, no, it had to been longer than 22 years.
32, I'm sorry, 32 years.
32, yeah, 32 years. Yeah, that's a long time.
The main event, Tracy Smothers defeating Brian Lee via DQ. So, interesting card at Freedom Hall that night. 1,000 people in attendance.
Yeah, and they're going to draw like 93,000 or 100,000 in Saudi. So we had 1,000. That's good.
Hey, AEW for 3 weeks in a row only drew 1,000 per show. So hey, it's not nothing to shake a stick at. Not too shabby. It's pretty good.
Yeah, for that it was.
All right, so let's wrap this bad boy up. Let's head towards the plugs. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at 2Man Power Trip. Dr. Tom, what do you got coming up?
You can reach me at Twitter at Dr. Tom Prichard and Dr. Tom Prichard at gmail.com.
All right. Thank you, everybody out there, for listening. See you right back here next time for a little Take You to School with Dr. Tom.